Hello. This has been a while since I've done one of these videos. I'm going to be doing a walkthrough on the newest retire of the HackTheBox machines called Dab. Um, Fantastic box. I finally had some free time and I had so much fun with this box that I thought that I would try and make a video again. Um, so, without much more, we can get started. So what I normally run is an initial Nmap scan, and I just to see what's going on. So I do -sv to enumerate any versions that are running on the ports that it finds. SC, which I believe runs the safest, most default scripts. Um, OA just outputs it into a file that you specify. And I have an nmap directory, and then I called this initial, and then the IP of the box, which is 10.10.10.86. I had just run it just so we didn't have to sit here and wait for it. So we can go ahead and cat that. So this is what we have initially. We got FTP running on 21, very safe FTP. We got SSH, looks pretty standard. Port 80 and 8080 both running Nginx web servers. And from the default scripts that Nmap ran, looks like anonymous login is allowed on FTP. It did some banner grabbing for um, the HTTP ports. So this one has a title of login, and this one has a title of internal dev. So what we can do is we can just go down the list and start poking at each of these. So first we'll look at port 21 FTP. So we can just simply FTP 10.10.10.86. First install the FTP program because I guess it doesn't come with Kali. I recently just installed this VM after my OSCP, so it doesn't have a lot of the tools that I normally use, but it should have enough. Okay, so let's try that. Let's try that again. Okay, so we'll do anonymous, just put a bunch of garbage, and we log in. So we can list it out and can see where we are. So looks like the only thing in this FTP home directory is this dab.jpg. So we can go ahead and just grab that dab.jpg. Okay. And then before anything else, we can try and do some FTP LFI stuff. Doesn't seem like anything like that's going to work, and it doesn't seem like we're in a highly sensitive directory where we could upload something and possibly have it execute like a web server or something like that. So there's no real reason to keep going on this, so we can just exit out of this. And so we can take a look at this dab.jpg. It is, in fact, a JPEG. Go ahead and open it, see if there's anything interesting. And dab, see if there's anything interesting on it. Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's just was that Robbie Rotten doing a dab? So not Robbie Rotten, the other guy from that show. Nothing too interesting. So the next thing that I would do is take a look at some steganography. So we can do like binwalk -e on dab. And doesn't look like there was anything in it. We can also run strings on it, see if there are any hidden strings or text files or anything like that. Again, not really seeing much. Next thing we can do is Stag Hide which I also might not have. Let's see, install Stag Hide. So let's download that real quick. It's good to show this that, how to install it and get the tools that you need on the fly. Stag Hide is just another steganography tool that allows you to not only put in stuff within images and other files, but also extract. So we'll do, let's see, help, Stag Hide. Okay, so you see at the bottom here, Stag Hide, extract, SF, and non-dab. See what happens here. Let's not put in a passphrase, and it looks like that it found something. Wrote extract the data to dab.txt. So we take a look. We now have a file. Clear the screen there. So let's cat that out. .text, and looks like it was just a troll. Very interesting. Glad that they put that in there, that SnowScan actually went through the process of how somebody might go about these challenges and put little things in there just to show you that he knows that you're going down a certain path. That's one of the things that I really enjoyed about this box. So let's look at the Nmap result again. So we did port 21. Doesn't look like there's much there. So now we can go into port 80. So we can actually just go into our web browser. 10, 10, 10, 86. And we get a simple login screen. Let's just try the usual before anything. Never save. So login failed, so it is actually making some sort of check. We can check out the source, see if there's anything hidden or if we can find any source code. But it doesn't look like it. Doesn't even show where it's sending the data. So we could try some. We can do payload all the things. Let's see if I have it saved. Payload all the things SQL. So this is a great repository for any sort of thing that you might need. I love it for the SQL injections. It has some interesting LFI and RFI stuff. You saw that I was looking at PHP file upload bypass. You can upload insecure files. It'll give you a bunch of different payloads that you can do with that. Amazing, amazing repository. So let's go into SQL injection. You scroll down through the README, and there's a section called Authentication Bypass. So we can just try like one or two of these, see if anything comes about. I don't like staying on one technique too long if I don't think that it's gonna work. So this simple like comment or to like one, we can do an even simpler one like admin break or 1 equals 1 and then end the string. Something like that. Nothing there. I know ahead of time that there's, to my knowledge, not too much going on with SQL injection. So let's go ahead, and I don't have Foxy Proxy installed. Okay. So before anything, let's run another Nmap scan in the background. And -p- actually tells it to check all 65,000 some odd ports, TCP ports that is. So we will do that. We'll do the -OA and call this full in the Nmap directory, and then 10, 10, 10, 86. So we'll let that go, open up a new pane. Let's do it. Let's do Foxy Proxy. Let's see. I know there's standard and there's basic. Let's see, Foxy Proxy. Simple on-off switcher. I think that's the one I want. So add that. Ignore all the security stuff. Great. So now it's installed. Perfect. Okay. I'll show you guys real quick how to do this stuff. So we're going to be setting up an HTTP proxy to work with Burp Suite um, because it takes all traffic um, and if it's listening on port 8080 on the local host. And if we route traffic through this, we can then see all the requests that are being made. So show that in action. We'll call this Burp proxy. So the IP address, like I said, is localhost 8080 port. Don't need any of that. Green color is fine. We'll save that. Great. So now we can close these. We can close that too. And now when you just go over here, you click that, and then you can just select whatever proxies that you want. So we'll do use Burp proxy, the one that we just set up. We'll do admin, log in, and you can see Burp grab the request, and now we can do what we want with it. So I'm going to hit Control R to send this into the repeater tab. Just hit go. We see the source code that we saw before. Another thing I like to do in the background is we can copy this to a file. So we'll do, let's see, documents, HTTP boxes, dab, and we'll call this, let's see, we'll do 80-login. So like port 80, and this is a login.request. Doesn't have to, it can be anything. It doesn't even need a file extension or anything. I just like naming things appropriately so that I don't get mixed up because I tend to get a little messy with my directories. So what I'm going to run is SQL map on this box or on that file, and I'm going to do the -r, which means grab a request file which we just saved, and try to find any injections within the parameters within it. So we'll do that. Just to verify that there are no SQL injections. And we will open up another tab. We can check our nmap scan here. So it seems like those were the only ports that we had. So that's fine. That's good. So let's go ahead and just do -su, which is now going to check the UDP ports. That can take a while. So good to have it going while you're doing other stuff. So we'll do UDP. So we need to specify output all, nmap UDP, and then the host, 10.10.86. Great. And looks like this already finished. Doesn't seem like anything's injectable. We could always raise the level or the risk, but that tends to be noisy and could possibly break the machine. So just a little something to show you there. So we'll do this. What else can we do? Okay, so the next thing that we can do, we know it's a login page. We can turn this off. So let's actually set up a Hydra scan to go against this. See if we can figure out quickly what the password is. So let's clear this. Hydra-H, and the one that we're going to be using is HTTP post form, because as you can see, it is a post request. I'm not exactly sure the exact difference between just HTTP-post and HTTP post-form, but I know that I've had more luck with the -form than with just the dash. So maybe we can find out. Yeah, I'm not sure. Something to look up on your own. So we'll start out with Hydra, and let's just do admin, just to keep it short. And then capital P specifies a word list. So we'll do word list, rock you. See, I haven't even tar, or no. Haven't even unzipped the Rocky file yet. So let's do this. User, share, word lists. Extract here. Open it. Okay. So then we can delete this. Okay. Great. So now we got that file. So hydra -l admin -p user share word lists rocku. We are going to do HTTP post form, and then we gotta grab some stuff from here. So it's going to be to /login : and then we need some parameters. So username equals user, and this caret user caret just tells Hydra, hey, if you see this, throw whatever we specified in -l into there. And then, so I grab the /login from up here, and then I'm just gonna put all the parameters down there. And password equals, and same thing with password, you just do caret pass caret, and it'll throw whatever iteration it's on into that. And submit equals login. Okay. And then I think it's another colon, and then whatever we get as an error message. So we can we'll just do error, and that, and then specify the host, I think, 86. No. Unknown service. Okay. So I think we actually take the host name, put it after the 10.10.86, and then that. There we go. There we go. Okay. So we'll have that go. Let's go ahead and drop that. Turn this back on. We'll have that go, and then we will, so as you can see, this UDP scan is still going, only 35% done. So good to have it going in the background. Let's cat our initial scan again, and we'll move on to port 8080. So we'll just do this, and we'll go to port 8080. It says access denied, password authentication cookie not set. So we can take a look at the source real quick. Nothing crazy. So let's go ahead and intercept this as we did with the other one. Intercept is on. Reload this. So it's just doing a GET request. Forward it. And then it sends us this. So let's intercept it again. Throw it into our repeater tab. And we can rename these by double clicking. So this can be port 80. And this can be port 8080. Okay. So let's just forward that and turn our proxy off. And let's take a look at this. So when we send it, it tells us access denied, password authentication cookie not set. So what we can do is exactly what it's telling us. We can set a cookie in our header here. So cookie, and then it says password authentication. So let's just try password equals admin, and then end it with a semicolon. Go like this. So now it changed just slightly. Access denied, password authentication cookie is incorrect, which is a lot better. So now we need to know we need to fuzz this cookie here. And there's actually a great tool to do that, and it's called wfuzz. So we will, okay, thank God it's on here by default. So we will do that. We will do wfuzz, and let's see, dash URL will be HTTP 10.10.10.86 on port 8080. Let's see, we'll specify word list, user share word list. I'll just do dirbuster directory 2.3. Now this is the word list I usually use when I'm enumerating directories, but it has a lot of just simple words in it, so and it's not too big, unlike RockU, so I think it'll be appropriate. We will, let's see, we gotta pass some data, some cookies. So let's see, not post data. Here we go. So let's try, wonder what the difference is. Let's try dash B cookie first. Actually, no, let's try post data. Let's try cookie first. All right, so dash B, and we know the cookie is password, right? So we'll do password. And then equals, and then for wfuzz, wherever you want it to start fuzzing, you just put in all caps fuzz. And let's see what this does. Okay, so we'll stop it here because it's giving us every request that it makes. And so now what we need to do is find some sort of characteristic of all these requests to hide. So it could be the number of lines on the page. It could be the number of words, characters. So let's do characters. And if we go back up here, hide responses with the specified code lines, words, characters. So it looks like it's going to be dash dash H. So let's go up, dash dash H, H. And then it has 324. So let's do that. And now you can see it's hiding every response that has 324 characters within it. So while that runs, let's check our other stuff. Nmap still hasn't finished. Looks like Hydra came back with a valid login. So that's good. Let me see. So that's up. And this just returned a valid cookie of secret. So let's check out port 80 first. Okay, so admin and Hydra found login admin password 1. So let's do password 1. Oop. Go. Follow redirection, redirecting. All right, let's just do it. Let's do it here. Admin and password 1. Okay, so welcome admin. Looks like it's a very simple data set of items in stock. Database updated every few hours. So the interesting thing when I was doing this the first time is that if you just wait and refresh it, Control R, or hit the refresh thing up here, the numbers change. So there's some sort of script running to update these numbers randomly. So that's something good to keep in mind. And debug, data tables were loaded from cache. That will make more sense as we go on. But anything other than that looks pretty normal. You got a /logout. So we're logged in, but there's nothing really there yet. Now, if we go back to here, I'll just kill this. We see that we got a different amount of characters when putting secret into the password cookie. So let's go ahead and do that in Burp secret. We'll hit go. and it looks like we get a 200 OK and some sort of web page. We can render it, TCP socket test. Great. So let us, let's see, we'll go back to port 8080. We will intercept the request in our web browser and pass that cookie, and then see what it gives us. So we could also use like a cookie manager or something like that, but this is just the easiest. So we're getting slash. We'll add our cookie, or actually there's already a cookie thing. So after this, we will put password equals secret and forward that along. And now we are at that TCP socket test. Great. And here's another instance of that word cache, again, which will make sense later on. So, so that's good, and that's still running. Okay. Great. So let's just test something out. So it looks like it asks you for a TCP port. So let's do one that we know is open on the host. So let's do 21. Since it doesn't specify a host, I assume that it's going to be running locally. And line to send, let's just send a space. I'll just hit space once in there and see what happens. We still got proxy on. Submit. Okay, so we sent it to port 21, and as we can see, it gives us the banner for the very safe FTP that we saw in our initial Nmap scan. So we did confirm that it is running locally, and it is actually connecting to the TCP port. So the next thing to do is to think, okay, how can I use this? And my initial thought was this is basically an internal Nmap port checker. And you can see up here it reveals the request that it's making. So it's calling the socket, probably PHP file, and then it passes the port parameter and the CMD parameter, which here I just did a space. You could do like help. Still the same thing, port 22, which we know is open, protocol mismatch, that's fine. So what we can do now is intercept this request. Take a look at its, actually we don't even need to intercept it. We can just do what we did with the cookie, which I cleared out. But we can do this, but instead of fuzzing password, right? Because or the password cookie, because we know that's secret now. Let's get rid of this. Because we know it's not this. That's not what we're fuzzing. We know what that is. We can then sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. We can now make a request to socket question mark port equals fuzz, right? So we're gonna create a list of numbers, and we're just gonna see what comes back as valid port numbers. So we'll do port equals fuzz and CMD equals like help, because that doesn't really matter. What matters is the response of the port number, because if you put anything, it's still going to give you the banner. So like 20, like 80, and we put help, it's still going to give us a banner. So we'll do that. But first, let's open a new pane here. Let's do Python-C Ba, 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 ba. What am I trying to do here? Print range of 0 to, let's just do 1,000. Let's see if that works. No. Maybe it's range. There we go. Okay. So print range of 0 through 1,000. Let's put this into numbers.text. Let's try this. And less numbers. Okay. Trying to think here of how I can print out a list of numbers using Python. Or if we have a file. Actually, we don't need this. Share word lists. Maybe wfuzz does. Or what we can do, documents, boxes, dab. Let's open this up. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of that. And then we can do a kind of freaked out there. Find and replace. So for every comma, replace it with replace all. Let's just do this in Vim. Numbers. Let's see. So we want. I'm gonna have to do some Googling here. My Vim foo is not as strong as it should be. Vim replace all spaces with new line. Character with a new line. So let's try this. Magic. Let's see. S / comma / comma Control V M Control V Control V enter /G. Okay. So now, so that's fine. So let's do this. Find and replace, comma with nothing, replace all. Great. And now we'll do that one more time. Find and replace any space, replace it with nothing. Just because there's all these spaces right here. Okay, replace all. Great. Okay, there's probably a easier way to do that, but that's the best way that I know. So back to what we were doing. we're going to do dash word list that file we just created. Password equals secret. All right. So let's type this out. wfuzz -u http 10.10.10.86 port 8080. We're going to make a request to that socket, and the port is going to be what we're fuzzing. cmd equals help. Word list is the numbers. The cookie that we want to pass is secret. And let's run that real quick. Bad usage, you must specify payload. What is going on there? Huh, done. Is there... Okay, wfuzz isn't running. HTTP wfuzz -help -w is the word list. Word list numbers be password. Oh, I don't think it likes some of the characters in the URL because the error is, it says -w command not found, so it's running everything up to that. So let's replace this with that. And there it goes. Okay. So quickly stop that. And it's the same instance of, and we can even see it here. Since we know some of the open ports. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are all returning the same number of characters. But port 21 and 22, which we do know is open, are returning a different amount of characters. So we'll just hide these 291 characters. So we'll do this, -- hide characters, and 291. That's interesting. And you know what? We didn't... I don't think 1,000 was enough. Let's just see if we can find like GitHub list of numbers. Or just a list of numbers. So first number 0, last number 65,000. Step difference 1. Add text after each one. I don't think it'll. Numbers listed on the same line or in separate lines. Separate lines. Okay, great. Select all. Cool. So let's remove numbers, vim numbers.text, set paste. It's going to take a minute for it to fill in. There we go. So let's do this again. Okay. So that 0 we can ignore. But 21, 22, and 80 we all know are open, so we know that this is working somehow or somewhat how we want it to. So we will let that go for a minute. Let me just clean up my mess here. Let's get rid of that. Proxy's off. Let's see. Let's drop that. Okay. So we got port 8080. So we will wait a couple minutes to see if it returns anything that we haven't found. Okay, so we got something that we haven't found before, and spoiler alert, this is all that really matters. So that 0 doesn't matter. 21, 22, 80, and 80, 80 we know are all outbound ports, but this 11211 is something that we haven't seen before, and when we did our full Nmap scan of all TCP ports, uh, full Nmap, that wasn't there, and there's nothing in UDP either. So we know that it's listening internally. It's only accessible through the local host. So let's do 11211, right? Yeah. And let's just do help. So it says error. So now the next thing that we're going to do is look up TCP port 11211. We see this top one here. It's called Memcache D. And now we kept seeing those instances of status of cache engine. In that port 80, it mentioned something to do with caching. So it's a safe bet that this is probably what we're dealing with. So let's go ahead and do like Memcache Exploit. See what we can find here. Let's check this one because there is a really well-known. Ooh, that's not good. Huh. There's a really well-known DOS exploit against Memcache called Memcrashed. Let's see if they still have their Memcache D. Looks like they've abandoned this site or something. Okay. Um, let's see. Memcache. Yeah. Yeah, so like this is the DOS exploit, DDoS. Um, I was kind of hoping, I believe this is the site that I used before. Um, to figure out how to go about this. But we will try and find something else. So let's just do memcache commands. So we can look into here. We can see there's, so it says memcache handles. Let's just look at memcached. Memcache is a high-performance, multi-threaded, event-based key-value cache store intended to be used in distributed systems. So it's basically just a really fast database. So let's go back to commands. So there's no reply, set, add, replace, append. But the first thing that we want to do is see what we can get. So retrieval commands. So what we can do is next look at memcached get commands. So what we can do, that's fine, missing parameters, 11211. Let's just do get. Nope, 11211, get help, and no output. Here we go, what's this cheat sheet? Okay, so this is good. So actually, let's start out with the stats because we want to see what's going on. So let's just do stats 11211 stats. Okay, we can see some stuff going on. Da da da. Command get set flush. Okay, but nothing really stands out in terms of this. So let's go into here. Let's do stats items. So 11211 stats items. Okay, so now we have some items that we can grab from. Um, so if we go back up to yeah, that other. Okay, here we go. Stat slabs. That's fine. Da, da, da. Set key. Where are all the get stuff? Here we go. So get my key. So the key in this instance is, I believe, here. So if we do 11211 get items, no, get, let's try the other non-integer. So like I'm doing age. Submit, no. Let's see, the example shows that we have only one active slab type. So let's go back to the port 80, 10, 10, 10, 86. Okay, so we're still logged in. Now there is an item table here. So if we refresh this, get items, nothing. Let's do stats 11211 stats slabs. Okay. That doesn't tell us much of what we want. So let's look for some keys. This script, dumping keys, we don't want that. We want to list keys. Stats items, yeah. 11211 stats items. So we can see the different keys. Let's log out, admin password 1, log back in, 11211, get items, nothing. To make this easier, let's throw this into, actually, is it still up here, right? Cool. Okay. Actually, let's just grab another one. So we'll proxy, intercept on, grab this, throw it into repeater, turn this off, drop that, we'll go. Okay. So that's fine. So let's try stats again. Okay. So we got that. This is exactly what I was going through the first time that I did this box. See, override existing key. your statistics. Let's just Google how to list keys in Memcache. Okay, let's try this. Telnet stats slabs. Each slab will show you usage statistic. Okay. For instance, to get data, note that the first digit, okay, in this case, slab ID is 1. Okay, so let's do that. So first we'll do stats plus slabs, which the plus is just a space in URL. Okay, so we got 16 and 26. Okay, so now we'll do stats plus cache dump plus, let's do 16 plus 0, because it says 0 means it'll return all items. Let's try that. There we go. Okay, so there's an item called stock. Okay, so now let's get plus stock. Go. Let's refresh this. Now remember that database updated every few hours. So if it's stale data, I don't think it'll return anything. And there we go. So we'll render that. So now it's returning all the values that it will print into here. But now let's go back a few. So let's do that. So we did 16. So now let's try 26, since that's the other delimiter there. So let's try 26. Go. And now it's saying there's an item users. Now that's a little more interesting than just what the stocks are. So then we go forward again, and let's get users. Now again, let's see if updating the database, no. So what we need to do, because this database of stocks or items is just updating these values, not the user's values. So what we need to do is log out, go back into admin, and what was it, password 1. Okay, now go back into here, get users, raw. Oh, that's ugly. But now we can see that it's listing something. So let's try it in our browser here. 11211 get users, and there we go. So now we have dumped the database of Memcache of users, and there's quite a bit. So let's go ahead and throw these into a file. Copy. Vim users.txt. Set paste. We'll just do that. Really ugly. Let's see. And we will go back to a text editor, just because I don't feel like dealing with that inside of a console. So dab users. So let's get rid of that. That. Okay, save. Let's find and replace. Let's replace every comma with let's just do find place all. Perfect. That's cool that it does that. I didn't know it did that. Okay, so now we have a list of users along with their hashes. So I'm gonna, well, let's get this out of the way first. Find and replace every space with nothing. Find save that. So this is the users file. So let's go ahead and save all this data into another one called pass.txt. Set paste, copy all this. So now what I want to do is I want to get rid of all of the usernames in this. So we're going to go back to Google. Using sed to replace everything after a colon. Okay, so we're going to do some sed magic here. Sed to remove everything after a file. Okay, so let's clear this. So we'll do sed s slash. Let's see if I can find a colon example. There we go. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Slash dot star of pass.txt into hashes. Cat hashes. There we go. Great. So now we just have a list of the hashes. And let's see. Close that. Open this up. Hashes. Find and replace. All. Quotation marks with nothing. Find and replace. Great. Save. Cool. So now we're going to do the same thing. Cat hashes. That's good. Remove pass. Cat users. So now we're going to try and do the same thing, but to the left of the colon. First and second, just to search for and replace between dot matches any character, star repeats any sequence. Before. Delete until first instance of colon. No. Let's see. Not that. How do you said to replace all characters before a colon? Not replace, delete all characters before. let's try Vim. Let me think about this. Or actually, we can just do, what is it? Cut everything before, or cut everything after delimiter. Forgot about the cut command. Duh. Not grep. Get out of here. Move all text after a character in bash. Cat users cut dash F1 dash D. There we go. So do that into users, cat users, cat users. Great. And now let's go into here. Users, find and replace. That with nothing. Place all. Great. Save. Close both of these. All right. So now remove users.text. So we got cat users. Got a list of users. Cat hashes. Got a list of hashes. Great. So now what we want to do is to try and see if we can decrypt any of those hashes. So let's just head 5 hashes. So they look like MD5, but just as a verification, let's do this, and everything is pointing to MD5. So let's just see if John will do that. So we'll do dash format, I think is just MD5 hashes, dash word list equals user share word lists rocku.text. Let's see. Raw MD5. So raw MD5. Oh, okay. So that was quick. The only issue now is that we don't know which of these hashes or which of these passwords go to which hashes. Let's see, import hash lib, right? Let's clean this up, we know that. Or hash lib list equals let's copy these. Okay. Wow, lots of spaces. Whoop. All right, import #lib list equals password 1 piggy monkey man strength blaster mega death or actually we don't even need to do well yeah, let's do this. So what we could do is just run some sort of brute force scan with SSH or on that web portal with all the users and all the passwords that we found, but that could take forever because there were a lot of users. So let's continue to do this just for learning and time's sake. Misfits love sucks 1 princess 1 default hack the planet and demo. Alright. So for I enlist print #lib.md5 I dot hex digest. There we go. So these are all the hashes, and they'll just be in order of password 1, blah, blah, blah. So let's get a list of vim user. So this is going to be the list of users that we're going to brute force. So we know admin is one of them, and we know Abigail is another one. So let's do this, close this. So that one's Abigail. This one is Ona. So let's exit that. User pass. Vim. Ona. Copy. Irma. Let's just do this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Irma. Alec. Alec, Wendell, right? copy. Rick. Let's see. Jenna. Okay, Jenna, V-I-E-V. Yep. Okay. Going down the list. Again, could probably like curl this and do some sort of checking that way, but this is good enough. D_Murphy. D_Murphy. And the last one. Oh. Last one is demo. Demo. Great. So we got users to root, and we got well, what's users? Okay. User brute and pass root.text. Let's quickly do password 1, piggy, monkey man, strength, blaster, megadeth, misfits, love sucks 1, princess 1, default, hack the planet, and demo. Great. Let's exit that. Cool. So now we can run this. So Hydra, list of users, user brute, list of passwords, pass brute. We'll do the host 10.10.10.86, and we will specify the service of SSH. Shouldn't take too long. Let's clean up some of this. And we get a valid login of Genevieve with Princess 1. So let's SSH Genevieve at 10.10.10.86. Yes. Princess 1. And we're in the box. So you can cat the user file to get that. Great. So we're finally in the box. So first thing I'm going to do, so that's all that I found, that's fine. Let's copy linenum.sh here. And so I have an alias set up for python-m simple HTTP server. So I just hit P and then whatever port I want. So I'm going to set up a listener on port 80. I'm going to go, actually, let's go into /dev shm. And let's wget the linenum. What's my IP? 1413. So now we're going to wget the linenum.sh script. Great. And now let's run this. So we'll run that, have it go through some thorough testing. Okay. Let this go for a second. I apologize for the long waits there. Didn't really go through this beforehand. Did this box a couple weeks ago. So relearning as I'm going, I guess. Give this a second to run. We can check what it has already while it finishes up. Okay, so we are running a let's see, pretty recent iteration of Linux. So it looks like we're running Ubuntu 16.04 Xennial. Let's see. Okay, got some users. So we got root. Here we go. Got root. Genevieve. Looks like that's really all that can log in to have a shell. Let's see. Got some files that are owned by us. Nothing too special. Skip through all that. Okay. It's got the message of the day, blah, blah, blah. Some environment stuff, boilerplate. Let's see. Anything in cron tab? Let's see. Nothing out of the ordinary. Doesn't look like. Nothing in here. Got some systemd timers. Okay, let's see if this, okay, so it finished up. Go back up a bit. Okay. Networking information, we can see that MySQL and Memcache D are running locally, so we could have found, yeah, I guess you can't really connect to MySQL and banner grab that easily, so that's probably why that didn't show up in our scan, or I didn't let it go on long enough, which is probably the better case. No crazy system or services running right now. Let's see. Got some file permissions. Okay, sudo MySQL. We can poke around the web directory, the var www. See if there are any hard-coded passwords or anything like that. Let's see. It's always good to check that if you can read or write the shadow or passwd file, because you don't want to miss out on such an easy root. Let's see. So now, at first glance, nothing really seems off with the SUID files, the setuid files, but this one right here caught my eye, user bin myexec. It's something I've never really seen before. So we will look into that. Let's see, sgid files, set gid. It's fine. ld config also kind of jumps out. So we will look into that. Some capabilities, but nothing really exploitable. And that is that. So let us let's do file user bin myexec. Yeah. So it's a 64-bit setuid, setgid binary. So let's just go ahead and run it then. Myexec, enter password, invalid password. Okay, so this is not an ordinary file. So what we're gonna do, myexec, we're gonna copy it into our working directory here, and we are going to put it onto our local box to enumerate it some more. So we can try just doing base 64. See how. Yeah, that'll be fine. It's not too unmanageable. So just copy all that. myexec.b64 set paste. Oh, wrong one. There we go. And then base 64-decode myexec into myexec. Great. chmod plus x my exec. So let's make a directory called reverse. Move my exec into reverse. So what we can do is run strings on it just to see if there's any passwords or anything in there, because it looks like it's enter password. This secure kind of looks like it could be a password. So let's just make sure that we can run it. And as you can see, there's a shared library issue, libseclogin.so. So let's go back here. Locate libseclogin.so. cp user libsec to here, and we'll do the same thing. Actually, we can let's see, nvlp 4444 into libseclogin.so. Keep hitting the wrong thing. And then we can cat libsec, pipe that into netcat 14.13 4444. Wrong way. Okay. And we can do an MD5 sum of that. Wrong way again. MD5 sum of that. So F4 5A, F4 5A. Okay, so let's do that now. And we got to cp that into user, where was this? User lib. There we go. Enter password. Invalid password. Okay. So next thing we can do is go into GDB, my exec. First thing we can do is list functions. Actually, let's install PETA real quick. GitHub, and this is an amazing kind of plugin for GDB. It just makes it a lot easier to read and work with. So now if we go back into here, great. So if we do list and hit tab twice, we can see all the different functions. So we can do like list main, or whatever. So we're going to break at main. We're going to run. So now this is a dump of what's going on within the memory at main. So if we just run through next I, so we just step through. Okay. Just going to keep going. It's going to XOR EAX, and you can see that it's going to be using this string when it calls printf, which then in that case will print enter password or whatever. So since this looks like a password, we will try and use it. So we will run my exec, enter this password. Great. So now it says password is correct, sec login called. So if we and if you remember that we had to copy libsec login onto our local box. So anyway, we're going to quit out of that. But if you remember, we had that error. Let's let's see if I can go back up to it. When we tried to run it, it said error while loading shared libraries, libseclogin.so, no such file. Now this, my local Kali box is a 64-bit Linux distribution, and we know that this is a 64-bit Linux distribution. So, in essence, any of the core libraries that binaries use to run should be on both of them. Now, where the issue came from is that this is not a base library. This is a custom-made library. So we can even, let's see, go into this. Whoop, didn't want to cat that. Libsec login. So let's go ahead and cat the user source libsec login seclogin.h, and it calls this function. And furthermore, we can run ldd on user bin myexec, and it'll list the libraries that it's using. So you can see libseclogin.so is being shared with user libseclogin.so. This is great because if we have our own custom libseclogin.so that does something malicious, it will it'll overwrite where it's sharing from. So instead of running it from user libseclogin.so, if we put it in dev/shm, it'll say libseclogin.so shared with dev/shm libseclogin, and then it'll execute that library. We can also figure out where it will run shared libraries from in the etc ld.so conf. So we go into that directory, or actually so etc ld.so conf. Wait, what? Oh, conf, you can see here. So we catted this ld config file. It says include etc ld conf.d, and then it includes all .conf files. So .d, you can see there's fake root, libc, x64, and then there's this test that was made in March 25th, but it's not, if we can run that here, cat etc lib or ld.so .conf. So same deal. .d. You can see here there's fake root, libc, that's VMware, not sure what that is, and then 64 Linux new. There's no test.conf. And that's one thing that you'll always want to do, is to compare your system with your target system to see if there are any different configurations, which means some system administrator did something funky and probably not well. So we can cat that test.conf file and see what it says. So now what it's saying is that when it loads any of the shared libraries, it's going to check all these, and it's going to check temp. So we can go into /temp, ls-la. Do that. So now what we're going to do is have it execute a set UID binary. Let me see, /opt. I might have one. No, I do not. So let's go into Google, set UID program GitHub. Simple. Set UID.c. Here we go. Privesc set UID. So all this does is sets a main function, sets GID and UID to 0, which is root, and then executes bin sh. So we're gonna go ahead and copy that. We're gonna do vim. Let's go back. Make dir dub cd dub vim. Let's just do set uid.c. Paste. Okay. So now what we're going to do is create a shared library. Or actually, another thing. Let's see. Let's run this again. Let's grab the password. Secure login. Echo. It's a pass. Okay. Now it says sec login called. So now this is interesting because if we go back, this library file is it's assigning a sec login function. If we were to compile this set UID program as it is now, it will not work. If we create a shared library that is using this set UID file, it will not work because when it goes to call sec login, it won't be there because this function is called main. So if we just go in, just change this to sec login, and then we can run gcc shared dash output file libsec login .so, and we'll do set UID. Those warnings are fine. We now have an executable shared file. That's great. So let's start up our web client. We're in temp. So we'll wget 10.10.14.13 libsec login.so. Great. We will chmod that. Great. So now a command that we're going to run. So we'll check again of what libraries this is using, LDD. So right now, oh, so it already reloaded it. 10. Okay, I'm the only one on the box. Must have automatically loaded it. Normally, we'd run this and it would still say user libsec login.so like we saw before. And then we'd have to run ldconfig, which will then run through everything and check to see where certain libraries are and stuff like that. And then we'd run this again and see that it says temp, but it did already. So that's great. So now what we're going to do is go over here. I'm gonna cat our password, which is this, and we're gonna run user bin my exec, pop in the password, and it's gonna call that that sec login function, point to our set UID binary, and hopefully give us a shell. Okay, it says password is correct. We didn't get that that sec login output, and we get this little little hash here indicating that we are root. Really, really unique and real world Privesk. I loved it. I loved learning about it. I had no idea about any of this stuff going into it. I just knew that there was this binary and that it was using a custom shared library, and that was it. So going through that journey of learning this, we can go into cd/root. There's the root.txt file. But yeah, so this is a great box, great learning. Oops. It was good to get back into recording. I know I fumbled a bit through there, but I hope to be doing these more now that I'm not bogged down by OSCP. But yeah, so thanks for watching, and hopefully I will see you for another one.